Where did humanity come from? Darwin says, from monkeys. Science says, from Africa, 300,000 years ago. Homo sapiens, modern human. That's our story. Simple, clear, proven. But what if this story is just the last page? What if the real story is much older, much more complex, much more incredible? What if humanity began millions of years ago, but in a different form, a different body, with a different consciousness? In the first two videos, although I didn't explain in detail, I mentioned the 7 great evolutionary waves of humanity. In this video, I will explain each of these 7 root races in detail. According to Helena Blavatsky, humanity went through 7 great evolutionary waves. 7 root races, each different from the previous one, each with different abilities, each lived in a different world. And we are only the 5th. We are still in the middle. We are not yet complete. Evolution is still continuing. For now, let me briefly introduce these 7 root races. First wave, shadow people, etheric. Second wave, Hyperboreans, semi-physical. Third wave, Lemurians in the Pacific, 18 meters tall giants, those with the third eye. Fourth wave, Atlanteans in the Atlantic, 7 to 8 meters, possessing crystal technology. Fifth wave, us, modern humanity, 2 meters, technological but spiritually blind. Sixth wave, not yet come, but coming, spiritual awakening, new abilities. Seventh wave, final stage. The spirit's descent into matter and reascension will be complete. Full consciousness. This is Blavatsky's vision, the Secret Doctrine. 1,500 pages. Humanity's true history. The history that science ignores, but perhaps the history that is real. In this video, we will explore each root race, detailed, deep, without skipping anything, from the 1st to the 7th, from beginning to end, or perhaps back to the beginning. If you're ready, let's begin. Millions of years back, to humanity's first breath, to the spirit's first touch with matter, to the first root race. Blavatsky writes this: the first race was neither male nor female, neither hard nor soft, neither mortal nor immortal. They simply were. Shadow people, the first human form, but even the word human is wrong, because they were not human in the sense we understand. There was no body, no flesh, no bone, no blood, only shape, shadow, form, consciousness. When? Blavatsky doesn't give an exact date, but she says hundreds of millions of years ago, maybe more. Time worked differently in that period because matter had not yet condensed. Where? Blavatsky says, everywhere and nowhere, because for the first race there was no concept of place. They did not live on matter, they lived within matter, on the etheric plane. What did they look like? Blavatsky describes human-shaped, but not material, like light, like smoke. Even if you wanted to see them, you couldn't, because your eyes only see dense matter. But they were not dense. They were vibration, frequency, energy. How did they live? Blavatsky says, the word live is wrong. They were experiencing, existing. They moved but did not walk. They communicated but did not speak. They fed but did not eat. How did they feed? They absorbed energy directly, from the sun, from cosmic rays, from thought. How did they reproduce? Blavatsky says something shocking. The first race did not reproduce. They multiplied through emanation. A being would think, and its thought would take shape. And that shape would become a new being. No mother, no father, no gender, only consciousness creating another consciousness. Is there evidence of this? Blavatsky says, there can be no physical evidence, because they were not physical, but there are traces in every religion's creation story. God first created spirit, then body. The first humans were in paradise. They were not material. Then they fell. They descended into matter. This is the first race, the state before the fall. How long did the first race last? Blavatsky says, millions of years, maybe 10 million, maybe 100 million. Time began with matter. Before that, there was no time. There was only now, infinite now. And then, Blavatsky describes, the first race gradually condensed. It became increasingly material. The etheric body became denser, more visible, more tangible, and over time, it became the second race. The transition was gradual. There is no clear boundary, just a slow change. What was the purpose of the first race? Blavatsky says, the spirit's first contact with matter, the first experience. When spirit is pure, it knows everything but experience is nothing. Experience requires matter. Body is needed. Limitation is needed. The first race is the first step of this journey, the transition from unlimited to limited. And why is there no trace of them in us? Blavatsky answers, there is, but you don't see it. When you dream in sleep, you are experiencing the first race. In dreams, there is no matter, but there is experience. There are shapes, but they are not touched. That's what the first race is like, dream state, but awake. Second race was denser than the first, but still etheric. They are called Hyperboreans because they lived at the North Pole. But wait a minute, North Pole, ice, cold, how can one live there? Blavatsky explains, the North Pole at that time was not like today. The climate was hot, tropical. There were no glaciers. There were green lands. There were forests. The second race was more material, but still semi-ghostly. They had shapes. They resembled human form, but still not completely physical. They glowed. There was an inner light, golden yellow color, a soft radiance. And here's the strangest part. Blavatsky gives them a name, Sweatborn. What does this mean? Blavatsky explains, the second race's reproduction method was strange. It started with emanation, but then reproduction through sweat began. Science says, impossible. But Blavatsky insists, you're talking about physical reproduction. But the second race was not yet completely physical. It was semi-etheric. Energy takes shape. Thought becomes matter. Sweat is just a symbol. The second race had no language, no words, but there was communication through sound, like music, tone, rhythm, and of course telepathy. Thoughts were shared directly. Food. The second race still needed to feed, but not through the mouth, through absorption, through the skin, energy from air, energy from water, energy from the sun. They fed through osmosis. Vision. The second race had eyes, but not like ours. One eye, at the top of the head. It saw neither front nor back. That eye would see all directions, simultaneously, 360 degrees. In the second race, gender had not yet separated. They were androgynous. Where did they live? Hyperborea, all northern lands, Greenland, northern Canada, Siberia. All were one continent at that time. Connected, warm, the culture of the second race. The word culture is wrong, but there was harmony. Harmony with nature. Connection with the universe. They were part of nature, not separate. Toward the end of the second race, something changed. Physicality increased, matter condensed, and gender division began, separation began, and this was the transition to the third race. The legacy of the second race. Hyperborea lived on in legends. In Greek mythology, there are Hyperboreans, the people of sun god Apollo. This is the memory of the second race. It remained in genetic memory. Third race was the longest lasting and most changing race. It lasted millions of years and underwent great evolutions within it. We call them Lemurians. We explained Lemuria in detail in the previous video. But now let's look again from Blavatsky's perspective. Lemuria is right in the middle, the third race, before the fourth, after the second, the transition point, the moment spirit fully descended into matter. Blavatsky says, the third race is divided into three great periods. First period, egg-born. Second period, hermaphrodites. Third period, separation of the sexes. First period, egg-born. Blavatsky describes, in the transition from the second race to the third, the reproduction method changed. Sweat birth ended. Egg birth began. The first Lemurians emerged from eggs. But how? Blavatsky elaborates. The last individuals of the second race produced a bubble from their bodies. This bubble grew, it hardened, it became a shell, and an embryo developed inside. Then the shell broke, and a new being emerged from an egg, just like a bird, but human. Science says, mammals are not born from eggs. Blavatsky responds, Lemurians were not yet true mammals. They were a transition form between reptile and mammal, and in that stage egg birth was possible. How big were the eggs? Blavatsky says, very large, enormous, because the baby inside would be a giant. An egg could be 1 meter in diameter, maybe larger. What were the first Lemurians like? Blavatsky describes, the first Lemurians were enormous, 18 meters tall, maybe taller, soft bones, flexible body, but strong, incredibly strong. They could uproot a tree, they could lift a rock, because gravity was weaker, the atmosphere was denser, and their muscles worked differently than ours. Their appearance, Blavatsky. The first Lemurians would look ugly to our eyes, wide face, flat nose, small eyes, but the third eye was open, in the center of the forehead, a physical eye, functioning, perceiving light, seeing the etheric plane. Skin color, Blavatsky says, dark, reddish, copper tones, some almost black, protection from the sun, because at that time the sun was stronger, ultraviolet radiation was greater, dark skin was necessary. The fourth race evolved from the survivors of the third race. After Lemuria sank, Atlantis rose, a new continent, a new race, a new civilization. Who were the Atlanteans? Descendants of the Lemurians, but smaller, less psychic, but more intelligent. Mental capacity increased, psychic ability decreased, a trade-off. The first Atlanteans were 7 to 8 meters tall, still giants, but half of the Lemurians. Over time they became even smaller. The last Atlanteans 4 to 5 meters, still bigger than us. Atlanteans looked more aesthetic than Lemurians, more regular face, smaller jaw, more defined nose, skin still dark but less reddish, more brown, some yellow, some bronze. In Atlanteans, the third eye no longer fully functioned. It had begun to regress. It had withdrawn into the skull. Skin had covered it, but there was still a trace, a slight protrusion. Geography of Atlantis. It was a giant continent in the Atlantic Ocean. In the west, it reached America. In the east, Europe and Africa. North to England, south to the equator. Millions of square kilometers. When did it begin? The fourth race began about 5 million years ago, after the last catastrophes of Lemuria. Survivors founded Atlantis, and it developed for 4 million years. The first 2 million years, Atlanteans were simple, hunter-gatherers, tribal communities, but gradually they developed. Agriculture began, animal domestication began, first cities were founded, the Atlanteans' language was developed. Telepathy was now very weak, words were necessary, complex grammar, rich vocabulary, and they invented writing. The first writing began in Atlantis. The fifth race is the race currently living. It's us. We call it the Aryan race, but the word Aryan is not in a racist sense, in the sense of noble, in the sense of evolved. Warning, Blavatsky's use of Aryan is completely different from Nazi ideology. She never advocated racial superiority. When did the fifth race begin? About 1 million years ago, in the late period of Atlantis, a branch of Atlanteans migrated north to Central Asia, to the Caucasus, and there, a new race was born. Appearance? The fifth race is smaller than Atlanteans, average 1.5 to 2 meters, no longer giants. Normal height, skin colors vary, white, yellow, brown, black. All are sub-branches of the fifth race. The fifth race is divided into 7 sub-branches. First, Hindu Aryans. Second, Arab Semitic races. Third, Iranian race. Fourth, Celtic race. Fifth, Teutonic Anglo-Saxon. Sixth and seventh, not yet developed. In the fifth race, the third eye completely disappeared. The pineal gland became a small gland. Psychic abilities are almost zero. No telepathy, but mental capacity is maximum. Is this progress? Yes and no. The fifth race developed mentally very much. Logic, reason, science, mathematics, philosophy. These are the strong points. But spiritually weak. Intuition was lost. Connection with nature was broken. Ego strengthened. The task of the fifth race is to develop the mind, perfect reason, advanced science. But there's a danger. The mind can separate from spirit. Matter can become more important than the spiritual. And this is what's happening right now. The fifth race has reached its peak. Technology is incredible. Science is tremendous. But there's no balance. Spirituality has been neglected. Nature is being destroyed. People are unhappy. There's emptiness. There's a search for meaning. The fifth race will fall, just like Lemuria, just like Atlantis, because there's no balance. But not everyone will die. There will be survivors, and they will evolve into the sixth race. The sixth race has not yet fully come, but there are beginnings. Seeds have been planted. Some people already carry sixth race characteristics. When will the sixth race come? Several thousand years from now, after the fall of the fifth race. There will be a great catastrophe. Worldwide, millions will die, but the survivors will evolve. The sixth race will begin. Where will it begin? In America, North and South America. The fifth race began in Asia and Europe. The sixth race will begin in America. A new land, a new beginning. The sixth race will not be very different physically from the fifth. Height similar, appearance similar. But there will be a difference. The pineal gland will grow again. The third eye will begin to reactivate. Not fully, but partially. In the sixth race, psychic abilities will return. Intuition will strengthen. Telepathy will again be possible. Prophecy will develop, but not at Lemuria level. More controlled, more conscious. The sixth race will maintain the mental capacity of the fifth race, will even develop it, but as an addition will also gain spiritual capacity. This is the balance, reason and intuition together, science and spirituality in harmony. Social structure. In the sixth race, the class system will weaken, hierarchy will decrease, a more egalitarian society, more cooperative, more harmonic. War will decrease, peace will increase, but still not perfect, because it's not the final stage yet. Technology. The sixth race will continue to use technology, but different technology. Technology in harmony with nature, clean energy, sustainable. Crystal technology might be rediscovered, but this time responsible use. In the sixth race, religions will begin to unite. Dogmas will weaken. Harmony in essence will be seen. It will be understood that all religions tell the same truth in different ways. Universal religion will emerge, but not by force, by natural evolution. How long will the sixth race last? Long. Maybe several million years, maybe longer. Because the sixth race is an important transition. The return from matter to spirit is beginning. Ascension is beginning. Descent is finished. The seventh race is the last race, but not last in the sense of non-existence. Last in the sense of completion. The cycle closes, returns to where it began, but now enriched with experience. When will the seventh race be? Very distant future. Millions of years from now, after the sixth race completes its task, after spiritual mental balance is fully established. Then the seventh race will begin. Physical characteristics. The seventh race will become increasingly less physical. Bodies will lighten, more etheric, less dense. Will remind of the first race, but consciously. The first race was unconsciously etheric. The seventh race will consciously be etheric. In the seventh race, the third eye will become fully functional again, but no longer as a physical organ, as a completely etheric organ, astral vision, spiritual vision, ability to see all planes. In the seventh race, death will be different, no longer traumatic, will be a conscious transition. People will see death, will prepare, will leave the body, and will enter a new body with full awareness. In the seventh race, reincarnation will continue, but no longer mandatory, optional. If a spirit wants to return for experience, it returns. If not, it doesn't. It ascends to higher planes. In the seventh race, technology will begin to lose meaning, because direct manifestation will be possible. Thought will become matter. Tools won't be needed. If you want, you create something. If you want, you destroy it. Creative power will be fully gained. In the seventh race, the concept of society will change. Balance of individuality and collectivity. Everyone separate, but also unity, consciousness. Because telepathy is complete, there will be no secret thoughts. Transparency, honesty, trust. At the end of the seventh race, Earth will also transform. The physical planet will become less material. Its vibration will rise. Maybe it will pass to another dimension. And then, the cycle completes. 7 races is one cycle. 1 Manvantara, 1 cosmic day. Then comes Pralaya, cosmic night. The universe rests. Then a new cycle begins. New 7 races. But on a higher spiral. Infinite evolution, infinite development. Now let's think critically. Is the 7 root races theory correct? Is there evidence? What does science say? Honest answer. There is no physical evidence, none at all. No fossils, no remains, no scientific support. Science says humanity began in Africa, 300,000 years ago. Homo sapiens. Before that, Homo erectus, Homo habilis. But they are different species, came before us but didn't evolve into us. 7 root races, nonsense, fantasy. Fossils. There are no 18-meter human fossils, as Blavatsky says. No 100-million-year-old human fossils. No trace from shadow people, no trace from Hyperboreans. Geology. Lemuria and Atlantis are geologically impossible. Plate tectonics is clear. Continents don't sink like that. Traces would remain. There's no continental crust in the Atlantic and Pacific. Genetics. DNA research shows humanity spread from Africa. We left Africa 60,000 years ago. We reached Australia 50,000 years ago. Europe 40,000 years ago. America 15,000 years ago. This doesn't match Blavatsky's timeline. Evolution theory. Darwin's evolution is clear. Natural selection, mutation, time. Humans evolved from apes, common ancestor. But the 7 root races theory says differently. Spiritual evolution, planned evolution, cosmic design. So, is Blavatsky completely wrong? Maybe not. Maybe she's offering a different perspective. Blavatsky isn't talking about physical evolution. She's talking about spiritual evolution, consciousness evolution. And perhaps this is a dimension science doesn't see. There are some interesting parallels. Human brain grew. Science shows that in the last 1,000,000 years, The human brain tripled in size. Why? Evolution. But Blavatsky would say, because there was a transition from the third to the fourth, from the fourth to the fifth, mental capacity increased. Pineal gland is real, and it's actually called the third eye. Still functional in some reptiles. Maybe it was in our ancestors too. Collective unconscious, Carl Jung's theory. All humanity shares common symbols, common myths, common archetypes. Why? Maybe genetic memory, left over from ancient races. Flood myths. In over 200 cultures, there's a great flood story. Coincidence or memory of a real event? The sinking of Atlantis? The choice is yours, science or spirit. And here we've arrived. The end of the story of the 7 root races. From beginning to end. From shadow people to the 7th race. Millions of years, maybe hundreds of millions of years. Humanity's complete cycle. Is it real? We don't know. There's no evidence. But maybe evidence isn't needed. Maybe the 7 root races is a metaphor, a symbol, a map of consciousness evolution. First wave, pure potential, not yet manifested. Second wave, first form, first experience. Third wave, full descent into matter, physicalization. Fourth wave, awakening of mind, but loss of balance. Fifth wave, peak of reason, but separation from spirit. Sixth wave, reunion, balance of reason and spirit. Seventh wave, completion, conscious spirituality. This is a journey, spirit descending into matter and rising again. Humanity's journey, but at the same time, each individual's journey. You too are going through these 7 stages throughout your life. In childhood, pure and innocent, like the first race. In youth, physicalization, like the 3rd race. In adulthood, dominance of reason, like the 5th race. In maturity, search for balance, like the 6th race. In old age, wisdom, approaching the 7th race. This is Blavatsky's message. Humanity is undergoing evolution, spiritual evolution, consciousness evolution. And this evolution is not yet finished. We are only the 5th. We're still in the middle. There's more road ahead. And individually, you too are evolving. You're becoming more conscious, more awake, more sensitive. Your 3rd eye closed, but you can reopen it. You can activate your pineal gland. You can strengthen your intuition. You can begin your spiritual journey. This is the real message of the Secret Doctrine. Historical, maybe not, but symbolic, definitely. And perhaps symbolic truth is more important than historical truth. In this video, we explored the 7 root races, from the 1st to the 7th, from shadow people to the final evolved spiritual beings. An epic story spanning millions of years. We saw Atlantis, we saw Lemuria, we saw ourselves. There is hope. If you watched this far, you're searching for something. Answers, meaning. Who are you? Where did you come from? Where are you going? Here's Blavatsky's answer. You are a spirit. You descended into matter for experience, and you're here to rise again. This channel will continue exploring the Secret Doctrine. More secrets, more hidden teachings. Subscribe, turn on notifications, comment, share your thoughts. In the next video, we'll face another reality. Stay with me. Until then, think, research, question, and most importantly, stay awake, because evolution continues. Every day, every moment, you too are evolving. The story of the 7 root races is finished, but your story continues. Stay awake, keep evolving. See you in the next reality.